everyone, so this video is a little bit different to the videos I normally do, and it's going to be about Aussie slang. So us Aussies have a strange way of talking sometimes, and some of the words we use make absolutely no sense to people who aren't from our country. We can be really confusing, and I'm making this video as a bit of a laugh and also to help some of you guys out, because there are occasions where I will slip into it and just use some slang which none of you will really recognise if you're not from Australia. What I've done is, where I could find examples from like US or American English and British English, I have. But if I don't know, or even if you're not from those countries and you're from somewhere else in the world and you've got a word for it, or if you've got some funny slang of your own, please comment below or leave me a video response, because I really like hearing about different languages and different things that we call the same thing. It's kind of funny and it's good to know, particularly if you're going to be travelling to those places. Some of the words could get you into a little bit of trouble in another country. So I'm going to go through just a few of the words that I've come across. There are actually quite a few, because we like to shorten things, we like to add O's and A's to the end of things, and Australian English is, it's quite similar to British English, to be honest, but we have a lot of strange words, so let's get into it. The first one is a term that we use to describe somebody who's gone angry or gone a bit crazy, or they're acting really crazy or aggressive. We call them aggro, which is similar to British English, or burko. So, oh my gosh, that guy's gone burko. That's what we would say. Afternoon, we call it arvo. Avocados we refer to as avos, so again, the O thing. And the next one is something where we're saying something's awesome or terrific or brilliant or great. We use a few terms. We either say you beaut, or you beauty, or ripper, or bonza. Bonza is not as common as the others, but just say you find a $50 note in a pair of old jeans, you'd go, oh, you bloody ripper, or oh, you beauty. You beauty and ripper are more common. But British English is sort of like ace or brill. Those types of things mean the same. The next one is when you're saying or agreeing something and it's very true, you'd say bloody oath. So you're agreeing something, it's usually something that's used with a lot of passion behind it, and it's not as common as some other terms, but it's still one that people will use. It's basically when they're agreeing to something that somebody else has said, and it's a lot of passion and it's bloody oath, so they really agree with it. And the next one is a term we use to describe a lazy person. They're a bludger. That's what we call them. The next one is if somebody gets into a fight, they've gotten into a blue. So a fight is a blue. It's not as that common. We do still call them fights, but that's an Aussie term. The next one I found quite funny. I knew the Australian and the American English versions, but I had no idea of the British version. If I get it wrong, please let me know, but this is what I read. So a liquor store or a liquor shop in America. In Australia, we call it the bottle-o or the grog shop. Mainly the bottle-o, but yeah, grog shop is very popular as well. And I've heard that in British English it's the off-licence or offie, which I thought was really bizarre. But let me know if that's true, because that sounds really strange to me. But yeah, it's a liquor shop, basically somewhere you buy or purchase alcohol from. Okay, the next one, if somebody has no chance of that happening, they've got Buckleys. So if somebody asks you a question and it's just not going to happen, they've got Buckleys. So you'd say, sorry mate, you've got Buckleys of that happening. And that basically means you've got no chance of that happening. The next one is used to describe somebody who's a little bit goofy, a little bit funny, a little bit dorky, and it can be used in an endearing way as well. And it's called a dag, and we call them a dag. So just say your dad tells a really bad dad joke or embarrasses you in front of your friends, you can call them a dag. That's what we would refer to them as. The next one is when you're being genuine or really honest. You're being fair dinkum or dinky die, but mainly fair dinkum. Then a way we refer to the toilet is the dunny. It's very popular, or the dunny can. We also call them the loo or the crapper, but mainly the dunny. When we're describing hard work or putting in really labour-intensive work or just putting in a lot of effort into your work, you're doing hard yakka. So hard yakka is hard work and lots of work. When you're agreeing to something or you're about to say something that you think, we use the word reckon. So if you're agreeing to somebody, you'd go, oh yeah, I reckon. Or you could start a sentence with, oh, I reckon that, blah, 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 whatever it might be. Another one, when you're tired, so you're at the end of the day and you've had an exhausting day and you're just exhausted, we say you're rooted. In British English, it's knackered. We also use knackered, but rooted is more popular. Then we have sandwich. We call a sandwich a sanger. And in British English, I'm led to believe you can call them buddy. So like a bacon buddy, we would call them like a sanger or a cut lunch, but a sanger is a very common term. Then the word for a sausage, which is what made me think of sausages. We call them snags or a snag, and in the UK or in British English it's called a banger or bangers. So like bangers and mash is sausages and mashed potato. We could call them snags. We call them a snag sanger, so that's basically a sausage sandwich. Okay, this one I thought of because of Cullen and Katie, who do daily vlogs. I'll link their channel below. They were making what they called koozies for VidCon and handing them out at VidCon. And when I heard them call them that, I'm like, oh, that's not what they're called. We call them, these are the insulated holders for cans of soft drink or beer. We call them stubby holders because the actual cans of beer that fit inside of them are called stubbies. But yeah, they're a stubby holder. In America, I think they're called coolies or coolers or koozies, but you have to be careful because in some states a koozie means something that it's not used to hold your drink. And you could get yourself into a little bit of trouble. I don't know what they're called in the UK though, but we call them stubby holders. The next one is swimmers or swimming costumes. We've got a few words for it, and depending on which state you're from. We call them cozies, togs, bathers, swimmers. Men's swimming costumes, so just the triangle underwear shaped swimming costumes, we call Budgie Smuglers or Speedos, which is just a brand of swimming costume, but that's what we know them as. And I think in the UK they're swimsuits or swimmers. But yeah, cozies is very popular in Australia. The next one is one that you don't want to get confused when you come to Australia. If you're looking for a thong or a pair of thongs, you're looking for shoes that have the strap goes in between your big toe and the toe next to your big toe. They're thongs. In New Zealand they're called jandals, and in America you know them as flip-flops. But yeah, that's what a thong is in Australia. Leading into the next one, a pair of underwear that has a string at the back. We call them a G-string or butt floss. And in America you call those thongs. So it's a little bit different to what we call thongs. The next one is being patriotic. You're being true blue. Then we have another word to describe food. We call it tucker. Some of you may have heard of bush tucker. So it's basically food that you could find in the bush, like berries and grubs and witchetty grubs, things like that. That's bush tucker. Also grub, which is another word that British English is using or is known to use, but we use that here too. But tucker is quite popular, or tucker box, things like that. We have a lot of words for the next thing. It's alcoholic beverages, so basically alcohol. You know, stubbies, we call beer stubbies. Breezes, which are just Bacardi breezes, but mainly as a generic term for alcohol, terps, grog, booze. So if you're getting on the terps, you're getting on the grog or getting on the booze or boozing it up. That means you're going drinking. The next one is what we call a utility truck or vehicle. We call it a ute in America. You guys call it a pickup. The next one is if something's taking a long time, it's taking yonks. Or if it's been forever since you've seen somebody. It's been yonks since I've seen you. And that's similar. They use that in the UK as well. The next one is sunglasses. We call them sunnies. And yeah, that's pretty much all we call them. Sunnies. That's more common than sunglasses. If somebody's being a whinger or they're whining, they're having a sook, we call them a sook. And this is one that I found, I haven't heard it before. In the UK, they're being soppy. I guess we use the term soppy, but we use that more in a, I guess, in a sooky way, I guess. If they're being sooky, they're being a bit soppy. But we call people sook. So if your dog's whining and whinging and like begging, you can go, stop being a sook. Next we've got runners. So trainers or joggers, we normally call them sand shoes. Or runners, but mainly sand shoes. The next one is, and this was one where I've got a little bit of Cockney slang, which is British slang, but a particular type of, so it's real slang. Telephone is dog and bone, so it rhymes a lot with the things that it means that it is. In Australia, one that sort of ties into that, we call cell phones mobile phones. Next is, if you're telling lies, you're telling porkies, or porky pie or pork pie. That's a lie. And so I'm pretty sure that's similar in the Cockney slang and the British English. Porkies, things like that. It's pretty much the same. The next one again, and it tells you a lot about Australian culture. Words that mean you're getting drunk. Sloshed, tanked, plastered, smashed, pissed, and the other word for poo-faced. There you go. Keeping it clean. But yeah, mainly plastered or tanked are the more popular ones. Rain boots, or we call them GumBoots, and in the UK they're known as wellies for Wellingtons. But yeah, GumBoots. Diapers, we call nappies. Sweaters, so a sweater that you can pull over your head, we call it a jumper or a sloppy joe. French fries or fries, we call chips or hot chips. Then we've got chicken, we normally refer to chicken as a chook. Then jelly, you call it jelly, we call it jam. What we call jelly, you call jello in America. So that's a little confusing, because if you had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you would actually be eating peanut butter and jello on a sandwich. So that's a little different. The next one, we call them eskies or freezers, and they're known as chili bins in New Zealand and coolers in America. What we call minced beef is ground beef in America. Tomato sauce is ketchup. Boots, so the boot of a car is the trunk of a car. What we call caravans, you guys call trailers. What you guys call gas, we call petrol or fuel. And the next one I noticed, I was watching some of the vlogs from 11th Gorgeous, and I noticed they were ordering things called biscuits, and I'm like, that's not a biscuit. I don't know what that is, but I'm led to believe that a biscuit is similar to a scone. Similar, but it's not quite the same. But what we call biscuits, you guys call cookies or crackers. So Oreos to us are biscuits, and I don't think they're the same in America. Cantaloupe, we call rock melon. Bell peppers or peppers for the UK, we call capsicum. Sweatsuits or sweatpants or sweats, we call tracksuits or trackies or tracky-dacks, depending on how far you want to go with that one. If somebody is happy or pleased, in Australia we call it stoked, and it's similar to the UK term chuffed. So you're chuffed with that, or we would say, oh, stoked about that. Somebody who's a bit of a wanker, we call them a tosser. Autumn is what we refer to as your fall. A chemist is a drugstore, but in Australia. What you guys call apartments, we call flats or units. Apartments are normally something that's in an apartment block, so a high-rise building, or has multiple floors. We would normally call something that's in a smaller block of units, or flats. But we still do have apartments. Some people call them that, but we do use units or flats as well. A fringe we refer to as what you guys know bangs to be, but we call it a fringe. This is one that was requested and I never even thought of this one. What you guys in the States call vacation, we call holidays. So holiday for us doesn't just mean you're referring to Christmas or Easter or a public holiday, a day off. We mean that when we go on holidays, we're going on holidays. So we're taking time off work, we're traveling, we're going on a holiday, which is similar to what you guys refer to as vacation. Then we've got one which even from state to state in Australia differs a little bit. And because I moved around a lot when I was a kid, I got laughed at really badly in primary school when I asked people for a rubber. I was maybe 7 years old, and a rubber is what is known in America as an eraser, so a pencil eraser. We call them rubbers, but not everybody does, and I learnt that out the hard way, but some of the states call them rubbers, which is a little bit different. Actually, it's quite different to what Americans refer to as rubbers. The next one is trolleys, so shopping trolley. That's what we call them. They're buggies or carts, shopping buggies in America. This one I didn't even know until somebody suggested it to me. What Americans refer to as bi-weekly, we call fortnightly. So it's basically every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks is a fortnight. And it's bi-weekly in America. So there you go, I learnt something new. The next one is a term we use to describe like geez or holy cow or goodness me. We say struth or crikey. Crikey isn't as popular as you would believe. It's very stereotypical kind of Aussie slang, but struth is something that a lot of people say, like, oh, struth. Like, it's, yeah, like goodness me, oh gosh, that kind of a word. The next one is flannelette shirts. We call flannos, again with the shortening, just adding an O to the end of it. And the last one is one that I find funny, and here in Australia it can be used in one of two ways, and it depends on the person you're saying it to. It can be used with endearment or with affection, or it can be used to talk somebody down. It depends on where you are, where you've grown up, where your environment is, who you're talking to, and how you're saying it. And it's basically a bogan or a yobbo. Now that would be similar to the British form being chav or trashy in America. So bogan, it's kind of describing the person, where they're from, how they live, what they look like, and sometimes it can be used in an endearing way, like, oh, you're such a bogan. It depends on how you say it, and it can be used in an endearing way, or it can be used in an offensive way, just like I guess chav could, and trashy or trash could be used in America as well. And so it depends on who you say it to and how you say it. But yeah, in the way I say it, you know, you're a bogan. It's more of a light-hearted kind of joking way. So that is a lot of stuff. That's a lot of slang. If you guys can think of any more, or if you've got any other examples of your own, please feel free to leave me a comment or a video response. I'd love to read it or see them, because I think it's really funny and it's really interesting to watch. If you've got any questions, or if I've gotten any of them wrong, please let me know and comment below. Or if you can think of any others, comment below as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!